Our next story is from China. Its property crisis is unraveling. Its property market is unraveling. One of the biggest developers is going under. Evergrande is over. The court has ordered it for the company to be liquidated, meaning Evergrande will be broken up and sold for parts. Now, Evergrande defaulted in 2021. It owes some $300 billion in debt. And for 18 months, there was constant back and forth. They were under a lot of pressure from creditors and from courts. In June 2022, one of their investors filed a lawsuit in Hong Kong. It put the company on notice. Evergrande was asked to get its affairs in order, come up with a plan, and restructure its debt. And since then, at every hearing, it was the same story. Evergrande would ask for more time. And the court in Hong Kong was patient. It gave 7 extensions in all, but today the court ran out of patience. You must hear what the judge said, and I'm quoting, "It is time for the court to say, enough is enough." And that's when the judge gave the orders. Evergrande was asked to liquidate. So what happens next? The directors will lose control of Evergrande. The court will appoint an official, better known as a liquidator. This could be a government employee or someone from a professional firm. Now, their job will be to meet the creditors, negotiate with them, and take over the management of the company. The process could take several months, even years.
So it's quite likely that Evergrande will be broken down into a much smaller company if it still survives in the future. So, or maybe it's not the end of the world for the macroeconomy, but I still think on the corporate level, it can be quite painful.
The process is going to be painful. There's a jurisdiction issue as well. Hong Kong versus mainland China. Essentially, the question is this: will the order from the Hong Kong court apply to mainland China as well? It's not clear as of now. The legal systems are different. Plus, the track record is a mixed bag. Sometimes a verdict from Hong Kong is enforced on the mainland. Sometimes it's not. There are agreements which can be used to enforce this verdict, but they're used selectively. So the situation is murky right now, and Evergrande may be looking to exploit this grey area. The company's executive has spoken, executive director. His name is Sean Siu. He says Evergrande's business in Hong Kong is separate from the mainland, so the impact will be limited. And that's the spin that Evergrande is giving to this verdict. They have the option to appeal too. So the court battle may continue. Evergrande may fight this order tooth and nail, but it is losing the perception battle. Today, their stock fell sharply. It lost 20% of its value after a point the trading of Evergrande shares was suspended.
After the company was able to sort its finances itself for about a year and a half, a court has now decided its liquidation, and that obviously rings alarm bells with capital markets around the world. In theory, the impact could be huge because the company's debt load is very, very large, and because it has a worldwide network.
The creditors are an anxious lot. Out of the $300 billion that Evergrande owes, just $25 billion is from overseas. So most creditors are in China, and there is no resolution in sight for them. Their money is stuck, if not completely lost. Same with the home buyers. And there are way too many of them. In September 2021, the figure was 1.5 million. And these were the people waiting for their homes, meaning 1.5 million customers of Evergrande still haven't got their homes. They invested in housing projects, in most cases by borrowing money, and they still haven't got an apartment. It's going to be a long wait for them if they get a house at all. What's worse, Evergrande is just one case. China is dealing with an avalanche of failing property developers. In the last 3 years, more than 50 developers have either missed payments or defaulted on their debt. And this list could get bigger. Chinese developers face more deadlines this year. In 2024 alone, they have to repay some $100 billion. And let me repeat, this is the money that they have to repay. So the writing is on the wall for both creditors and investors. The creditors should be prepared to write off some loans because more defaults seem inevitable. As for the investors, Evergrande should be a cautionary tale. Because when the going gets tough, the Chinese government bails. They seem to be doing the same now. There is no assurance of a rescue from Beijing, none. And without any financial guarantees from the government, what options do investors have but to exercise caution, pull their money, and distance themselves from China's unstable economy?